Hi there, my name's Misako. Today, I'd like to talk about a shocking secret about a best friend of mine and what came afterwards. My husband Kaito and I met each other at work, and after a wonderful relationship of 22 months, we got married. Not too long thereafter, our beautiful daughter Riko was born. Childbirth and raising children were only a few of the things with which I hadn't any experience. And so many of new experiences rained down upon me all at once, and every day was pretty chaotic, honestly. After a year, with Riko celebrating her first birthday, we decided to periodically take her to a kids club within the city. Not only is it a good place for children to interact with each other, but it was also a good place for mothers to meet and to exchange information and advice. This kids club, in particular, had reviews off the charts, too. Riko and I were so excited. However, if I had any concern about the club, it was another mother, Matsuko. She was more vulgar than the rest of the mothers, and always wore clothes that dazzled the eye. Needless to say, her aura commanded the attention of the entire room. You'd think she would be busy with raising her children and wouldn't have any time to get any good makeup done. But she proves you wrong. She always wore very professional makeup. Her clothes and her purses were all of famous brands, and she always hogged the attention of the other mothers. By the way, her 2-year-old son goes by the name Shian. Even the boy's name reeked exotic extravagance, and today was no exception. All the other mothers started to sweet-talk Matsuko into approving of them, and she was the center of all conversation. "Oh, my dear Matsuko, you look wonderful today, as usual."
Why, thank you.
"Isn't that something of a world-famous brand you can only buy limited editions in shops within the neighborhood?"
Yep, that's right.
"Oh, that's wonderful."
You have to always do what you can to show your femininity, ladies, even if you're a mother busier than a bee.
To be honest with you, I always try keeping my distance from Matsuko. Why, you ask? I think the conversation you just heard is more than enough to give you some understanding. First of all, I have absolutely no interest in obtaining information about different brands of luxury, nor do I have the time to do some research. While she should be providing the image of being a novice mother trying her hardest to raise her son, I find myself wondering this: where does she find the time to be so luxurious? I don't particularly like interacting with people while having my doubts about them in general, you see. Additionally, I disliked the atmosphere the mothers pampering Matsuko were creating. But luckily, she is a simple girl, and the perfect description of a mother doing her act. Such is Junko, and that's perhaps why Matsuko always makes fun of her.
What the heck are those rags? You look like a homeless hippie. Oh, damn, you've got holes in those clothes, you know? There is a line to draw when it comes to old clothes, isn't there?
Yes, she used the mere fact that Junko looked poor as a means to condescend to her. If there was anything I despised more than anything else, it was rich pigs like Matsuko, boasting about their wealth right in front of someone who's acknowledged as a poor person, and insulting them. Junko was a close friend of mine, and I came to despise Matsuko with a passion. Maybe that resentment for Matsuko led me to greet Junko myself, and that triggered a close friendship. "Junko!"
Oh, hi, Matsuko. Oh, and hello to you too, Riko dear.
You were playing with stuffed animals? Mind if we join in the fun?
Yes, of course.
My daughter Riko seemed to get along pretty well with Junko's dear son Shinji, and they played with stuffed animals and dolls together, hugging them and petting them. They were also sharing very nicely, and I was so glad Riko had found another friend. I feel so relieved when I see the children like this. I'm so glad I met you, Junko, and dear Shinji.
The feeling's very mutual, dear. Oh, wait, I wanted to show you.
Junko brought out her phone and showed me a photo of something.
Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Is that a kitten?
Yep, it was born at our place.
Wow, it's so cute. Riko dear, look, it's a little kitty cat.
I showed Riko the phone, and she's making little squealing sounds. She sounds really happy and excited.
If you're free after this, would you like to come over and see the kitten?
We can? Oh, yes, we'd love to.
What have we here? Sounds like you two are having quite the stimulating talk over here.
Oh, Matsuko, Matsuko and her little litter of complacent fangirls waded into our conversation unannounced, pestering us to tell them what we were talking about.
What is it? A cat, you say?
Yes, our cat gave birth to a litter, you see.
Is that so? That sounds very interesting. Surely I'm invited to go to your house to see this adorable kitten too now, aren't I?
Wait, you too, Matsuko? Do you like cats?
Well, we do have a pet of our own after all. But more importantly, aren't we curious about where this little witch lives? I bet it's an old cottage littered with cauldrons, vials, and jars full of human body parts. Surely it'll be some old house that's falling apart at least. The hallmark of the classic poor.
That's true.
Miss Junko's always wearing pretty shameful clothes after all. I also want to know how poor you really are, miss. I only hope I won't regret the experience.
Why don't all of you just... So, you're all coming too? I don't mind at all. Junko, dear, if you don't want them to come, you have to stand up for yourself.
Thanks, dear, but it's all right, really.
Besides, the quicker the little kittens get used to people, the better, right? Well, I suppose if you're okay with it, Junko, I won't stand in your way.
My, this is exciting.
Kids Club was adjourned for the day, and we all headed back to Junko's place to see the kittens. We got onto a train, and then we went on foot for about another 10 minutes. With Junko guiding us, we eventually arrived where she lived, a slightly discolored 5-story apartment building filled with one-room apartments. The front entrance was facing north, and perhaps that was why the corridor beyond it looked a bit dark. To be frank, it looked eerie and ominous too. The very thought of going inside this building sent mild chills down my spine. I felt ashamed, because even I was convinced that this building was a little too old for my liking.
We're here, ladies. We're here! You don't mean to tell me that this old hellhole's the place?
Yes, it is. What's wrong with it?
Oh my goodness, how poor can a human being get living in a haunted house like this? Falling apart at the seams and coughing up dust every 5 seconds. Stop it, dear. You're making my stomach hurt. I'm laughing so hard. This is just too much.
As you would guess, Matsuko took one look at the wobbling building, stood stunned for a split second, and then burst out into hysterical laughter. Perhaps her laugh was pretty contagious. The other mothers who tagged along started to sneer smugly. A few went on laughing too.
Are you for real? This is way too humble, dear. Oh my, the building really reflects your personality, Junko. Look at how damp the inside looks. That's literally your drowsy side. Judging from the front entrance, I have a rough idea of how big your room is, but it's impossible to fit us all. It's just too friggin' small. I can't believe you live in such a place, darling. Oh, I just feel so bad for your child. How pitiful.
Now, hold on a second. How dare you say such things when you wanted to tag along yourselves?
I'm only telling you the truth, dear, and nothing but the truth. Jeez, who would have thought you were this tight with money, my dear? I can't help but feel sorry for you. Maybe you'll allow me the pleasure of treating you to something nice sometime?
That's enough, Matsuko. Why do you always ridicule Junko day after day?
Misako, it's all right.
But, Junko,
everything Matsuko just said can be justified. I mean, for real, look at this place. Even I would laugh at people who lived here, honestly. However, unintentionally.
But still, what she just said is inexcusable.
By the way, you're coming up, right? And how do you propose to fit all of us into one tiny apartment so small that even an ant could think of it as shameful? Do you have any ideas, ladies?
Give me a million years, I still wouldn't be able to come up with an idea.
It'll only be a bad experience, stuffing ourselves inside. We've completely understood just how much of a penniless woman you really are, and our curiosity's now been satisfied. The kittens? We're not interested anymore. We're now going to a special black tea shop for some R&R. We'll see you soon!
After brutally insulting Junko, Matsuko leaves, taking the other mothers with her, leaving me with Junko, the poor dear. She must be feeling a lot of guilt and sadness right about now. Fast forward a couple days. Riko and I arrived at the kids club, and as I was taking off her shoes, Junko called to me from behind. Good afternoon, Misako. And dear Riko. Junko, good afternoon. What a nice surprise for you to talk to me. Everything all right? Yes, everything's fine, thanks. I actually wanted to give this to you. What is this? Today's your birthday, isn't it, Misako? So here's my present to you. Wow, thank you so much. Hey, can I open it, pretty please? Of course. I quickly untied the ribbon and unfolded the paper. I opened the box and took out a single pin. It had a kind of retro vibe to it. Wow, you've got some really good taste, Junko. It's wonderful. That's a fountain pen. I thought it would be a nice present for you considering your amazing handwriting. I'm so glad you like it, Misako. I hope you do use it. It's one of the best presents I've ever gotten. I'll treasure it. But as I was having a little bit of fun with the fountain pen, looking it over thoroughly, and writing a few things in my handbook…
Hang on, what's going on over here? Another interesting talk, I dare predict?
Matsuko came intruding upon us again. It was pretty much like clockwork at this point. Whenever Junko and I would be talking and having a nice conversation, just the two of us, she'd come barreling towards us like an angry ox, eager to join in.
I was wondering who was over here. It's only you, poor little Miss Junko. I truly didn't think you were this much of a lowlife, you know.
As she said so, she brought out her phone and showed us something on the screen. Lo and behold, it was Junko's own apartment building, the very same one that, admittedly, could collapse at any minute. What? When did you take a photo of that building? And how could you do such a thing without asking her first?
Because I wanted to tell everyone about it, you see. I wanted to tell people that the place Junko lived was a very old, very fragile, and very hilariously broken apartment. I also mentioned it must be quite the burden on such a young child.
That's a violation of privacy. You've gone too far, Matsuko.
But everyone wanted to know about such a place, you know? Right, ladies?
The other mothers looked at Junko and started to snicker. And just how much has this stupid walrus been leaking this photo to other people, I wonder?
Misako, what are you holding there? Show it to me.
Just wait, hold on. Matsuko suddenly snatched the fountain pen, the same one that Junko gave me, away.
What even is this? A fountain pen?
That's my birthday present from Junko. Just give it back, Matsuko. What'd you go about snatching it up for?
This is a birthday present? How primitive!
It isn't primitive, damn it. It's the most wonderful birthday present I ever got. I mean, just look at it. It looks so splendid. It's like an antique.
Junko, being as poor as you are is no real excuse to give someone a used fountain pen as a birthday present. Now, is it?
Makes me question your sense of fashion.
Wait, is it really that beat up? Let me see more closely.
Hey, what the? Matsuko and her entourage of bitches sent the fountain pen around themselves, tossing it back and forth, glaring at it like someone had plucked it out of a garbage chute, laughing and sneering at us all the while. I frantically tried to get it back from their dirty hands, but I was blocked, and I couldn't reach it at all. The children were looking at what was going on, bearing expressions of confusion on their faces. And then things got even worse. The fountain pen made its way back to Matsuko, whose hand failed to grip it well enough, and gravity did the rest. As the pen hit the floor, Matsuko raised her leg, seemingly on purpose, and brought it back down forcibly, resulting in a heart-wrenching crack. Matsuko had actually destroyed my fountain pen, my beautiful present from Junko. The pen had been smashed to smithereens, to the point where repairing it was a lost cause.
Hang on.
Oh, no. What the heck, Matsuko? The hell are you doing breaking it like that?
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, lass.
Junko's present. Do you have any idea how thoughtful that present was to me?
Why do you get so angry? The fact it broke so easily is proof it was a cheap piece of trash in any case.
How dare you?
Oh, come now. I'll pay you back for it. Just name your stupid price and you shall have it, okay? There are actually so many pens that are much better than this, and I'll buy you the one you want myself.
That was a very thoughtful present from Junko, and that's why it made me so happy. Because Junko went out of her way to make me happy on my birthday, and you stepped on it so brutally it broke.
Oh, Misako. Yes, a friendship between two young women is truly a melodramatic story, ain't it? I know now that you two are pretty much inseparable right now. But Misako, stop by my place one of these days. You can take home a branded bag or two. How about that? Oh, yes, and you're invited too, Junko. Of course.
Why would you want to go to your place, damn it?
Misako, how about we pay her a visit?
Junko!
I've always wondered what her quarters looked like. This is a good chance to finally satisfy my curiosity. Oh, my place? Yeah, that's all right, I suppose. It's a two-family house located in the luxury residential area. There's a parking lot right in front of it. And I think it's actually much easier to access if you have a car. So I don't mind if you come by car, all right? Oh, but make sure you aren't renting a car. Since it is a luxury residential area, you better come in something that matches well with it. Understood.
A few days later, I was waiting in front of Matsuko's house. I didn't have my own car, so I was dropped off nearby by a taxi. Just as Matsuko said, this area did indeed look like a luxurious neighborhood. There were many large, stylish houses standing along the road. Just nearby, there were a bunch of skyscraper apartment buildings. And one could imagine just how popular such a neighborhood would be to the elite. Perhaps Matsuko told the truth, and that her house was big enough for two families. Her house seemed a dimension larger than all the other residences I'd seen along the way. It seemed Junko hadn't arrived yet. Junko, what's wrong? I guess you don't like the idea of coming here. I knew it.
I'm sorry, Misako. Shinji started to squirm a little bit, and now he's having one of his fits.
Oh dear, that's a bit of a challenge.
I don't think I can leave until he calms down a little bit more.
I see. Then, you don't mind if I step inside first?
No, I don't. Would you mind telling her I'm sorry I'm running late? It'll be a big help.
Got it. Message me again when you're about to arrive, okay?
Of course. Thank you, Misako.
I climbed up the stairs that led to Matsuko's front door and rang the doorbell.
Ah, Misako, dear. Welcome, welcome. You sure are late, I must say.
Junko sends her apologies. Her son's gotten a little squeamish, and she'll head over here once he calms down a little more.
I see. Well, I suppose the child has to cry every once in a while, especially since he lives in such a crumbling place. Well, now do come in, dear.
Matsuko snorted as she let me inside her house. Inside, there sat the other mothers. Unbeknownst to me, it had become kind of a party, it seemed. The children were in a room near the front door, a room that had a safety fence around it. And it was situated in such a way that the mothers could periodically check on their children as they ate their meal and talked. One of them was opening a bottle of champagne and pouring a glass for everyone as I walked towards the table.
Oh my, this is wonderful! Phew! What an amazing aroma! That champagne's pretty good, isn't it? We are the purveyors of the winery that makes this fine specimen, you know. Have another drink with the little hors d'oeuvres we've prepared for you, ladies, and you'll be shocked at how different it'll taste. You really are amazing, Matsuko. Such exquisite taste in everything. I know, right? This is what it means to be successful in life.
Oh, is that so?
Do be careful when you touch something, Misako dear, okay? Since I doubt you'll be able to compensate for it if you break it. Everything's so exquisite, you see. Thank you for having us. Oh dear, have we been bothering you, darling?
No, not at all. You just sounded like you were having a blast. So I just came down to see how things were. Maybe I helped myself to some champagne too.
I can't. I just can't. Can I go home, please? The atmosphere. I actually can't breathe. I feel a little woozy. My eagerness to leave this unbearable place was becoming too great to keep at bay. That's when Junko contacted me via text message.
Misako, sorry for the wait. I'm almost there.
After reading the message on my screen, I walked to the window overlooking the road and took a look outside. And then I saw the unbelievable sight. A ridiculously luxurious-looking car was just now pulling up into the parking lot. Who in the world did that belong to? I'd never even seen a car like that in my whole life. In a panic, I rushed outside to see who would step out.
What is it? Did that poor hag come finally? I wonder what kind of car she arrived in.
Matsuko and the other mothers followed me outside, albeit much more slowly. And lo and behold, from the very car that had just parked outside the house, the vehicle that reeked riches even more than Matsuko's house did, out stepped Junko and Shinji, both of whom looked very different than usual. Junko?
Misako, you must forgive me. I was so late.
Oh, I don't mind that at all, but
What? What's with this car? Junko, why are you dressed like that? Huh? What's going on?
Don't tell me. This can't be the very same kind of car of which only 7 exist in the entire world. If I'm not mistaken, that means this car costs more than everything in Matsuko's house combined.
How do you know this?
My husband works at a car dealership, but why do you have this legendary car? Even many billionaires don't own it, much less someone of the public. And even those who do own it, they purchase it after pooling gargantuan amounts of money. And after the purchase, the car is shared among them.
What? No way that's true. Not to mention your clothes, Junko. Sure, they're branded pieces, but what's amazing is that they're the most expensive end of the spectrum. We're talking multi-millions here.
Praising these things so much won't get you anywhere, ladies.
Matsuko and everyone else, myself included, just stood there in complete shock, physically unable to close our mouths again. Explain why the likes of you has this car and these clothes. You made it all too clear that you're almost as poor as the homeless. Why are you choosing to live a life of miserable poverty in a one-room apartment?
Oh, you mean that place? That's where the cats live, you know.
Where the cats live? What do you mean?
More specifically, that whole building's a shelter for rescued cats and kittens, you see. We're making sure all the cats have one whole room, at least. And we give the bigger rooms to entire cat families. Establishment. And we also have a few rooms where we hold meetings for new potential owners. And a couple more spaces where people can wait and have a drink of coffee or something. But no, that building's not where I live. Instead, I live over there.
As she uttered that, Junko pointed over to the neighborhood of skyscraper apartment buildings over yonder. There's no way. But those apartments, they're high-rise condominiums, and they easily cost more than 100 million per single room, don't they? Why in the world do you live in a place that bleeds wealth like that?
Why do you mean by why? All of those apartment buildings that you see over there belong to me, you know.
All of them? You mean everything?
Yes, everything. Or rather, everything that you can see right now. As a matter of fact, this very establishment right here, as well as everything else you see in this neighborhood, has been designed by my husband.
This whole neighborhood? Everything?
What's with the racket out here? Jeez, but wait, hold on! What have I done to deserve this honor, milady?
Who are you calling milady, damn you?
Shut up, woman! This fair lady is none other than the very daughter of Mr. Uzumaki, the CEO of Money Robo Industries, who have been so kind as to invest in my company, damn it!
His daughter, you say?
And isn't Money Robo Industries a multinational conglomerate, a commanding enterprise driving the future of Japan?
I'm sorry, Misako, for staying quiet about the truth.
According to what she had to say, Junko is direct family to the generations of individuals who've built Money Robo Industries into the superpower it is today. And her husband's large project to design a new luxury neighborhood ended hugely successful. He was behind the original production of the neighborhood, and now he's in charge of managing and operating businesses for the luxury apartments situated just beside Matsuko's house. And she apparently even lives in one of these very luxurious rooms, solely owned by her and her husband, and that's located at the very top of the building. Compared to Junko, Matsuko was a mere insect when it came to wealth. Junko's was the picture-perfect life of a multi-billionaire, with business booming more than ever.
My lady, it's such an honor for you to drop by my humble house, along with the Lord Shinji. Can I offer you any refreshment?
Oh, please, you're too kind. It's not a bother at all. It's the least I can do considering how Matsuko and her associates have been to me.
I do hope my idiot wife hasn't caused you any discomfort. You need not hold back, my lady. My only hope is that you do forgive me.
Oh, you need not fret about that, good sir. It's something I've become accustomed to. In any case, that Miss Matsuko currently lives in a 2-family house in the luxury residence area. That everything she wears, including her jewelry, are all branded items of wealth. And that her life is particularly one envious one indeed, even among others who live in this neighborhood. That's honestly all she's ever talked about, you see.
Yes, but lest we forget, we were able to live this nice life all because of you, my lady. Come now, Matsuki. Show this lady some manners.
To hell with that! I'm not bowing down to someone the likes of her!
Miss Junko, thank you for always being so kind to us.
What? Just what do you think you're doing, all of you? I just knew you actually had some exquisite taste, Miss Junko. I felt it in my bones. Perhaps an aura rendering us regular citizens hesitant to approach you is the best way to put it. But I must say, folks of the highest class are something else, truly.
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot. Miss Matsuko, if you please.
What is this paper? An invoice?
Indeed. You told us yourself you would compensate for it, did you not? That fountain pen that I meant to give to Misako.
What? What the hell? This price, it's 2 million yen?
That fountain pen you just so happened to break was a masterpiece among exquisite specimens, you see, specially handcrafted by masters just for the occasion. I do believe you can pay for this in full, in one payment, can you not?
2 million yen? Woman, explain yourself! What exactly did you do?
There's no way that rotting old pen costs 2 million yen! And also, don't you dare think I see this as a substantial price, because I don't believe it in the slightest. One payment? Please. I might as well give you the money in cash right here, right now.
Milady, please accept my humblest apology for what my idiot wife has done. I will make arrangements so she pays the price in full, herself, and I do hope you look to the future with high expectations working with us.
Must say, the future seems very bright now that our business relations have been cleansed of any unnecessary pollution.
What is the meaning of this?
With Matsuko's husband patching things up amazingly well, and the other mothers betraying their loyalty to her so quickly, the consequences weren't very drastic, fortunately. Perhaps her back finally gave out. Matsuko collapsed to the ground, her derriere shaking the asphalt beneath her with a loud thud. Later on, the truth spread like wildfire, and all the other mothers at the kids' clubs were like men, head over heels with Junko. They started to desperately get their children to make friends with Shinji, and every time she walked in through the door, a crowd of women would gather around her, and poor Shinji. Seeing them all start to approach Junko with the intention of getting their children to befriend hers, Matsuko just glared from afar. Soon afterwards, a rumor saying that her wealth was all fake started to circulate, and perhaps she felt like she couldn't be there anymore. She handed in her membership of the kids' club and took poor Shien with her. Plus, her relationship with her husband began to quickly deteriorate because they constantly argued about the affair with the fountain pen. All the branded items that Matsuko had been collecting had been forcefully sold off, it seems, and she wasn't left with much. Plus, using her habit of spending so much money, as well as how she was raising Shien as references against her, there's a good chance she's going to be divorced within the year, they say. And that's what's been going on through the kids' club, apparently. Really? Now, I talk with Junko about many things as I help her out with her enterprises to rescue stray cats and make them eligible house pets for common folk. But that aside, the time we spend with the cats here really makes the stress of life go away now, don't they? And since the children were shown to not have any allergies against cats, so how about we let them play with the kittens when they get a little older? Shinji always gets anxious to see more cats once I show him a single photo of a cat. And Riko absolutely loves them too. I know she'd love to play with these kitties. Maybe I could convince Kaito to keep a cat of our own. If you want, I hope you choose one from this establishment here. Wait, we can? Well, I know you, Misako. Well enough that I could give all of these cats to you if I had to. I just know the lucky kitty who will go back home with you will grow up to be beautiful. I've been meaning to ask you, actually, about why you're rescuing cats and taking care of them so that they become house pets. And why here, of all places? Given your background, I feel like you'd have no problem buying a shop or two and caring for them in those facilities. I mean, I suppose I can. But this is probably more linked to my own tastes, I guess. You see, a lot of rich people are making pretty serious mistakes about their money. I went to parties of my family friends and relatives, and I learned through what they were talking about that there exist people who use money that were never even theirs to begin with, but spend it without thinking twice, as though it really was their own money. And from the start, I resented that. Junko, Plus, it's a little known fact that the spirit to rescue and care for animals here in Japan is quite behind compared to other countries. It isn't like in the Dark Ages or anything, but it is still something to be ashamed of, I think, considering how Japan declares itself a developed nation. To be developed means to be compassionate towards all creatures, great and small. And I want to make people understand that. And since I love cats especially, I want to make the stray cats of the city have a chance at a nice life with a warm home, good food, and kind people. All of these angels have the right to be happy, as much as humans do, but they're abandoned, abused, and even permanently damaged because of people with only half a heart. It's so depressing. I felt like I just had to do something to contribute to the well-being of these cats. It basically became my calling. Junko, I think what you're doing is absolutely wonderful. And I now understand, because I've spent some time with them, that every single cat in this building seems very happy. It makes me realize just how much you've committed to caring for these angels, and you've inspired me to do exactly what you've been doing too. Oh, Misako, thank you so much. Do you think I could stop by from time to help you out with these kitties? I was serious when I said you inspired me to help out the city's cats. And also, like I said, playing with them drains all the stress away, and it really helps me too. For real? You just made my entire month, Misako! Junko smiled, eyes twinkling with the purest joy I'd ever seen in a woman. No matter how rich and blessed she may be in her life, it brought me great relief and joy that she was a person with a big heart, who understands the meaningful things in life to make one happy. It made me determined to go on living my life as her close friend for many years to come.